White House officials say a trip by Secretary of State Baker to the Middle East is a distinct possibility. No date has been set, but the administration is waiting for word from Iraq on when and if they would hold high-level talks. Well, just how to get Iraq to talk was the topic at meetings in Cairo today. The foreign ministers of Egypt, Libya, and Syria discussed calling a summit conference but made no plans. And after today, Iraq may be a little more anxious to talk peace. NATO sent the air wing of its rapid deployment force to Turkey to protect the alliance member which borders Iraq. The 40-plane deployment now sets the stage for a two-front war.
Former Ohio Congressman Buzz Lukens is spending his first night in jail for having sex with a teenage girl. Lukens was handed the 30-day jail term in June of '89 for contributing to the unruliness of a minor. The judge noted Lukens showed no remorse whatsoever. The lame duck congressman resigned from Congress in October after a female elevator operator in Washington accused him of making unwanted sexual advances.
Well, if you caught tonight's edition of 48 Hours here on TV8, then you already know that nearly 6,000 healthcare professionals are carrying the AIDS virus. But none of them are required to share that information with their patients. As Newscenter 8's Lori Taylor reports, our right to know is a question of controversy, and research is being done that could lead to an answer.
We can't get crazy about this.
Dr. Thomas Murray is the director of the Center for Biomedical Ethics at Case Western Reserve University. He says in his opinion, not every patient of a healthcare professional has a right to know if that person has been infected with AIDS, but admits in some cases where there's the potential for blood-to-blood contact, a patient should be informed.
If you have somebody who is infected, who's in a position where they do pose a threat to another's health because of the possibility of exchange of blood, then I think they ought to think seriously about informing patients.
Here in Cleveland, healthcare professionals who contract AIDS are required to inform the state medical board, but they don't have to tell you or me. There's no state or federal law that requires them to do so. Healthcare officials say research is being done right now to determine exactly what kind of risk there is to a patient should his or her doctor have AIDS, but it's likely nothing will come of that study.
We balance values between safety on the one hand and other things that we regard as desirable on the other. And some of those other things we regard as desirable are respecting people's privacy.
Dr. Murray says because only a few people have been infected by their physicians, there may be no justification for right-to-know legislation. But if 1 or 2 patients becomes 1 or 200, perhaps then a person's right to know will become law. Lori Taylor, Newscenter 8, Cleveland.
And still ahead on Newscenter 8, as ironic as it might sound, we'll introduce you to the people who are at the center of every disaster.
And Vic says a few people will see a snowflake or two, but otherwise our steady as rent January weather will continue.
How much would you pay for a McDonald's hamburger?
About $2.
99 cents. $2.99. $1.59.
McDonald's announces a big change.
Are you talking to me?
From now on, you can get our juicy original hamburger for just 59 cents.
They gonna give any cheese with that?
Our delicious cheeseburger is just 69 cents.
Say it again.
The McDonald's hamburger, just 59 cents. McDonald's cheeseburger, just 69 cents. You'll love the change at McDonald's.
We're there. When? We're there. We're there.
How many times have you gone to a sale and said to yourself, you kidding me, this is all that's on sale? Well, get a load of the National Home Appliance Sale at Sears Brand Central, America's largest appliance sale with virtually every major brand on sale. GE, Whirlpool, Kenmore. Hey, get this Kenmore 10-cycle washer with America's largest usable capacity, and 8-cycle Kenmore dryer and save 104 big ones on the pair. Right now at Sears Brand Central. But hurry, before we get cleaned out.
At Fantastic Sam's, we think a perm should be as individual as you are. What do you think? So, we do all kinds of perms. And with the Perm Plus from Sam's, you can afford to look this good, or this good, or this good. You don't need an appointment. We're waiting for you now.
Parts of Wayne Township in Tuscarawas County look more like Venice tonight. The overflowing Sugar Creek has turned many roads into creeks. High water has forced evacuations and isolated some 50 homes. In nearby Mineral City, flooding has caused a shortage of drinking water. Flood relief is expected in 48 hours when doors to the Beach City Dam are opened, relieving pressure on flooded cities to the south.
Well, whether it's a flood, a fire, or a hurricane, there's one group of people you'll always find at a disaster. Most of them are volunteers who help out in times of emergency, anywhere from finding shelter for disaster victims to offering a cup of hot coffee. As Newscenter 8's Christy Steves reports, it's the American Red Cross now helping out the flood victims in our own backyard.
They're ready at a moment's notice to respond to whatever disaster decides to traumatize the nation. Whether it's a flood in Shadyside, Ohio, or a hurricane in the Carolinas, or a house fire on East 82nd Street in Cleveland. Any time of day or night, or any place in the country, or the world for that matter, volunteers at the American Red Cross are trained to respond immediately, like they did in Valley View this past week.
You've got a place to stay, you've got heat, you've got beds, you've got the basic things that you need.
Finally have heat back today, yes.
Okay. Well, what we wanted to do today was to make sure that you get these cleaning supplies and then make sure that your immediate needs are taken care of.
A team of Red Cross volunteers is helping Valley View residents get back on their feet following flooding in that area.
We are out doing a damage assessment and delivering the cleanup kits to the families that have had flooding.
What are you finding?
We're finding mostly minor damage. Not too much water on their main living floor, mostly in the basements.
One of the teams that was the first on the scene here had been at a fire previously, so they went right from the fire out to Valley View and then back out to another fire again. Disasters are 24 hours a day, and who knows what is the next disaster. It could be a tornado, a flood in this area, hurricanes on the West Coast.
The American Red Cross provides several services to disaster victims. They make sure they have a place to stay, and if not, they'll provide the shelter themselves. They provide food, clothing, and beds to people in distress. Last year, the local Red Cross helped 2,000 disaster victims. Most of those cases were fires.
Oh, they came out and they brought us extra mops and stuff, which I needed. Mine busted just as I was working and that. But that was about it, really. And that they helped a lot, you know, just knowing that they're around helped.
I chose the American Red Cross because I believe in what they do. I was a serviceman in the First, Second World War, and I believe in the Red Cross. That's why I work with them.
Christy Steves, Newscenter 8, Valley View.
Well, we've found out already that a few people will see snowflakes, but otherwise the weather will stay the same. So what else is there to say,
thanks, Dick, and good night.
That's it. Casey's next in the sports.
You can go home.
Well, no, wait a minute. At the end of weather, we're going to tell you how you can get a hold of the 1991 brand new expanded winter weather guide from TV8.
Oh, the front of it with your handsome picture right on there.
Well,
look at that.
It's out of focus again, as everyone wants.
Put that in the family album.
Okay,
right
but
there.
anyway.
It's got a windshield chart.
Hey, enough of me.
Right.
But anyway, snowing at Erie, snowing at Buffalo lightly. If you see a snowflake, that'll be about it. Don't think we'll see a lot out of the cold front that is even now moving across the viewing area. We'll see what lies ahead for the weekend, though, after this.